Last year, I was involved in a significant controversy that I would like to address. Unfortunately, the narrative surrounding the situation has become muddled with half-truths and falsehoods. I would like to take full accountability and apologize for what I feel I should apologize for, but I would also like to point out. So, let's start at the beginning. In the summer of last year, a fan of my game contacted me and wanted to chat. Usually, I just brush off anyone who tries to talk with me, but this person was being really he was being really nice and seemed really friendly and funny. So I decided, you know what? Sure. Talk with them. What could possibly go wrong? She let me know right off the bat that she was 16, but I didn't see any problem with that. When I was 16, I had online friends that were in their 20s and 30s. It didn't feel weird. In the beginning, our conversations were normal, but she had a pretty adult sense of humor, and occasionally she would bring up a topic or ask a question that wasn't really appropriate. When this would happen, I would say, "No, no, no, young lady, that's inappropriate. You shouldn't say that." But the more we talked with each other, the more comfortable I got speaking with her, and eventually I just stopped taking that stuff very seriously. Telling her to stop became merely discouraging it, which became tolerating it, which became playing along with it, and from there our conversations kind of spiraled off into some pretty weird territory that I honestly never expected to find myself in. And I wound up discussing topics that I never should have discussed and replying to questions I never should have replied to. It happened so gradually. She thought that my jokes were funny, so she started recording our conversations. When she shared my jokes with her friends, they started to question why a 35-year-old man was talking to someone so much younger. They assumed that I was grooming her, so they contacted a drama YouTuber and got her involved. The drama YouTuber saw this as an opportunity to instigate a scandal. She coerced and pressured the girl into making sexual remarks and asking me sexual questions in order to bait me into giving responses that could be used to craft a narrative that I was grooming a young fan. And that drama YouTuber got exactly what she wanted. She got recordings of me answering inappropriate questions and discussing inappropriate topics, and then she used those recordings to make a 40-minute long video accusing me of being a child predator. Out of respect for all the people in the world who have actually been groomed, we should use the word grooming correctly if we have to discuss it. Grooming is when an adult tries to establish a relationship with a child with the intention of exploiting or abusing the child. That doesn't describe what I did. I didn't seek out that type of interaction. I didn't attempt to steer any conversations in that direction. I feel like it's worth mentioning that a lot of the remarks I made only sound bad when they're out of context. For example, there was this one time when the girl said that it looks super easy to make money through OnlyFans. And I thought, whoa, that's a little concerning. Is this generation growing up thinking they should just go directly into porn because they think it's the best way to get rich? It's not a good sign. So I asked her, wait, are you planning to make an OnlyFans? And of course, the drama YouTuber used the recording planning to make an OnlyFans to frame me as someone who goes around initiating inappropriate actions, which is just completely dishonest. There's a part of me that wants to go point by point down the list of every single suspicious or questionable remark I made and provide context for absolutely everything. But that's not really the main issue. The problem here is I allowed weird conversations like that to happen in the first place. A normal, mentally healthy adult would have just blocked the girl immediately after the very first time she said something inappropriate. But I didn't. And having to face that fact was a wake-up call that made me realize I had deteriorated into someone who was making inexcusably stupid decisions on a regular basis. So after this whole controversy, I took some time to just reflect and try to figure out how I let something like this happen. After talking it over with a lot of different people, I developed an understanding of exactly how things got to this point, and I think I now have the vocabulary to explain it. Over the past 10 years, I completely sacrificed every aspect of my life and my well-being in favor of working on my video game project. I almost never left my house for any reason. I had nobody who I could call a true friend, and I always spent 16 hours a day or more on the computer. I was lonely and depressed and miserable and getting worse every year and doing nothing to make any of it better. When you neglect your psychological and social needs that badly, you eventually become so desperate to connect with another human being and receive positive affirmation that you completely stop being mindful of where social boundaries are supposed to be, and you become willing to tolerate inappropriate interactions because it's the only way that filled after they've gone completely unmet for years. Acknowledging all of this was step one. Step two was determining what I would have to change about my life to begin repairing the damage I had done to my psyche over the past 10 years. So I decided to step back from game development for 3 months to just work on myself and develop a more healthy lifestyle. I started seeing a therapist. I started leaving my house and going outside and interacting with other human beings more often. I experimented with hobbies that don't involve the use of a computer screen. I found a much better work-life balance, and most importantly of all, I made friends. I made meaningful connections with people my age. That made a bigger difference than anything else. I no longer feel a desperate need to receive affirmation. I no longer feel like I have to tolerate inappropriate conversations because it's the only source of social interaction in my life. I feel like I've eradicated the weaknesses and vulnerabilities that enabled this entire situation to happen in the first place. It's worth mentioning that sometime after the whole controversy started, 2 images started to circulate. These images are fake Discord screenshots depicting fictional interactions between me and children. There's no truth to these whatsoever. These are created in Photoshop or made by an impersonator using my username and avatar. This isn't the way that people speak to other people, and for people on the internet to laugh at. It's not me. Another piece of ridiculous misinformation that I want to address would be the claim that I was grooming this girl since she was 9 years old. Apparently, she sent me an email 7 years ago. I don't have any memory of that. I'm guessing it was just typical fan mail. And apparently I responded to her, and I said, "Hey, thanks for your kind words. I'm glad you liked the game." Or whatever. And somehow the fact that she once contacted me when she was 9, and then later contacted me this summer, transformed into a narrative that I had been grooming her for 7 years straight, which is like, no, that's not what happened. That's just something that people made up. So what did we learn here? Well, I didn't harm a child. I didn't traumatize or victimize anyone. But I did do something wrong that I feel a need to apologize for. I neglected myself so badly that I deteriorated into a machine that just does but make horribly self-destructive mistakes, but also everyone else around me. As a result of those stupid and careless conversations that I got baited into having, I created a huge, completely unnecessary scandal. I made myself into a figure who is so controversial that people are afraid to be associated with me or have any kind of connection to my game. As a result, people who enjoyed contributing to the game had to quit the project. YouTubers who enjoyed playing the game had to stop playing it. Companies that worked with me had to sever all ties with me. And a lot of fans were deeply hurt and upset. I'm so sorry for all of that. I don't know if I'll ever get over it. I just hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. When I look in the mirror, I don't see a predator or a threat to children. I see a guy who was severely neglecting himself to the point of self-destruction, but identified what he needed to change, took the necessary steps to improve his life, and got better. And now, I'm ready to get back to work. I want to continue releasing updates for the game. I want to continue uploading videos on my second channel. I understand that there's probably going to be less people contributing to the game, less people playing the game, and less people supporting the game, but game development is my passion. It's what I love more than anything else in the world. No matter what kind of number, because I love doing it. There's a lot I would like to say about the current state of Yandere Simulator and the future of the project, but that's not what you clicked this video for. So I'll just write all of that in a blog post, and I'll link to it in the description. Some of them I never addressed at all, and others I attempted to address, but I completely botched it and mishandled it, and I just made things worse. In the future, I'd like to make a video, kind of like this one, where I actually address those past controversies properly. I can't guarantee when it'll happen, but it is something that I want to do in the future. For now, though, that's everything that I wanted to say. Thank you for taking the time to hear me out.